filled with name droppings of sorts. But
I know. I should have left out all the interesting people I met.
Yeah. As I said,
I should have airbrushed them, and why bother with the jokes they told me, all the anecdotes? I mean, it's just, as I said, it's like scraping acquaintance, isn't it?
Well, you write...
Next time I promise a more sort of austere account of things.
Well, you write here, I hope that by dropping these names, I can convey something of the headiness of it. It might have been heady at any time, but in the 68 atmosphere, it chanced to coincide with other ferments and intoxications as well. And those days, you rubbed shoulders with these extraordinary figures. How do you think an Isiah Berlin would view you today?
Well, he was always very nice to me, actually. He would drop me a line whenever he noticed an article I'd written, especially, inevitably, or invariably rather, if it mentioned him. He once told me an enormous lie that I have in print that was later corrected in Michael Ignatieff's very hagiographic biography of him. I don't think he will actually be remembered as the great man he's thought of, and I don't think he has complete staying power. Because if you don't remember that voice and that style, as with Maurice Barra and quite a lot of the so-called giants of Oxford at that stage, you won't. I don't say this to gratify his stepdaughter, but one who will, who I do remember, was Sir A.J. Ayer, Freddie, the great philosopher, author of Language, Truth and Logic, who was also the senior member of our Socialist Society in Oxford, who's one of the great defenders of logic and reason and science against religion. He'll last, but a lot of them won't.
You and he share something in common quite deeply, the sense of insecurity.
Freddie?
No, Isiah Berlin.
Berlin, absolutely. Berlin used to say all the time, and people thought he was joking, and I'm sure he wasn't, that he was overrated, that people thought his stuff was a lot better than it was. And he would say, long may this illusion continue. Long may it continue. And I occasionally read praise for myself that I don't think I deserve, and it makes me very uneasy. Yeah.
Fraudulent?
No, but not exactly. But there was a very great Scottish journalist and reporter when I was growing up called James Cameron, who he's still remembered by many people because of the extraordinary early dispatches he wrote from the Vietnam War for the Daily Herald, old Labour paper. But for a wonderful memoir called Point of Departure, about the days of Old Fleet Street. And I remember him saying to me once, and he wrote it too, he said, every time I roll the paper into the typewriter, you see how long ago it was, every time I do that I think, today's the day they're going to find me out. And if you don't have a bit of that, if you don't think that there's something meretricious about success or celebrity, and that you ought to have stage fright every time you go on, because you shouldn't just become too used to it, then I think you probably are flirting with being a fraud. But being aware of the possibility that you might just be lucky is a good thing. And Berlin, to his credit, did have that. And he couldn't get people to believe him.
As I said, you have been lucky. You have been struck by good fortune.
Yes.